And welcome to the film breakdown for Jaylin Noel, a very interesting receiver in this draft class, and one that I am pretty high on, with some caveats, but we'll get into that, of course. Start off with the data, as always. You can see gradual progression throughout his career, ending up with a pretty solid senior year: 80 catches, 1,200 yards, 8 TDs. Still, though, the advanced stats never really got good. Even in his best 2 years, only a 10 and 11% first down per route run rate. The target per route run is pretty strong. It's above the prospect average, but nothing elite here. Really spiked with the RYPTPA at 2.7. And then the ADOT spiked a lot in his senior year as well. He was used a lot differently in the senior year, still from the slot, but a lot more vertical routes. Let him do a lot more with the ball in space, gave him really just a lot more trust. You can see actually from this contested target rate, which, in 21 to 23, this is unbelievably low, which can be a good and bad thing. 9% contested target rate when you're earning 29% targets per route run is pretty good. However, it's only a 7.7 ADOT. This year, the ADOT spiked, but we see the contested target rate go up above the prospect average. So it's interesting. You're going to have more contested targets down the field. I still think he was separating well, but it's something to keep in mind. As far as his hands, solid catch rate, solid contested catch rate. Not the best drop rate, but it was really just bad in 22. Is fine this year. Overall, hands are definitely a strength for him. And the last thing I will point out is not a great yak player. This 4% missed tackles force percentage and only 4.2 this last year. Yak per rec is pretty terrible. So just something to keep in mind. From an analytics perspective, all of that comes out to being only a 38th percentile prospect. Not great there. Not super surprising, but not great nonetheless. So something to keep in mind. As far as his analytics profile, it is not indicative of someone who now is projected. I have third to fourth round here. Now is projected to go more like the second to third round, maybe even as high as that early second round. I'm seeing him mocked in some places. According to Mock Draft Database, the consensus ranking is right there in the third round, or late second, I guess, at pick 62. Style comparison, we'll obviously see this on the film, but guys like Christian Kirk, I think, is the best comparison here. Kayshon Boutte as well is a guy who can get downfield, has some real glaring strengths and weaknesses, and I put discount Terry McLaurin. More of a slot guy, obviously, with this 77% slot rate than a guy like McLaurin, but just in terms of his route running ability combined with his, overall athleticism, which is really good, and just the ball skills, being able to win at all three levels, it did remind me of Terry McLaurin. As far as his scouting, his combine results, I'll say, Jaylin Noel had a really, really good combine. Definitely boosted his stats quite a bit. Came in at 5'10", 194, as you can see there. But 4.39 40 with a 1.5 110 yard split is really good. And then the jumping was just crazy. 41.5 vertical, 11 foot broad, with a 23 bench press, which is just ridiculous. So I do think that physicality and explosiveness aren't necessarily his strengths, although he does show this at times. Really, the main weakness is the yak. But he does have the athleticism, at least on the track, that does definitely translate at times to the field. He just needs to get a little more consistent with that, and I think a lot of that comes with coaching and being able to improve, especially his explosiveness out of stems. But we will get to that when we get to the film right now. So we're going to start with his short routes and his release, gradually getting to some of the longer routes here as we really break down his route running capabilities. Definitely a strength of his. I really like his release package and his ability in the short game, obviously out of the slot, but his combination of, that bench press that you can see on the field, good hand fighting, and really good footwork and quick change of direction ability. Really good job here. So in this triple threat position, you're gonna have you're going to have a really big advantage over the defender here, right? You can see he's getting outside leverage here, but he can still threaten on this quick slant, especially because it doesn't look like there's any safety help on the top. And once he goes and establishes outside leverage, there's still a few different ways you can go. You can hit the fade, which is what he initially kind of fakes, or you can come back to this near pylon. And he just does a really good job, Noel does, at establishing physicality, dictating the terms of the fight, right? So it's a little triangle release there, gets inside, establishes that, or sorry, I guess outside, gets that outside leverage. You can see he's looking back for the football immediately, right here. And this is what really tricks the defender, right? The defender now is like, oh crap, he's looking back for the ball. We might be getting just like a kind of shallow fade, I guess, here, back shoulder type throw. I got to turn my head and start looking for that. And as soon as the defender does, uses that physicality, pushes off him, gets wide open to the near pylon. Target doesn't come. All right, once again in the slot top of the screen here. Nice catch. Just a really good quick out here, right? You can just see how well he approaches it with good pacing. He's got a lot of patience in this route. He knows he's going to make this stem right around this 19 yard line, which is right where the defender's standing. So he's got to force the defender to backpedal just a bit, get on his toes, and then it's the acceleration and the angle of the stem. The more you can make it that 90 degrees, the better. And we'll see Noel do a really good job here. Right. Good pacing, hard step, cuts it off 90 degrees. Just undercuts it enough. You can see it's like it's not the cleanest route. There is a little bend, right? First foot comes in here, and then it's not really till the third step that he's kind of making this turn, right? So you're turning at from the 18-yard line, or maybe 17 and a half, all the way to the 19. It's like a yard and a half. That's not perfect, but it's really strong hands here as well, which I like to see. And you can see the athleticism that he's able to land in bounds and actually turn upfield. That just shows how strong his feet are and his good just like balance and overall agility. See the end of the play here, probably not a very useful angle. All right, bottom of the screen slot now. Not a whole lot to this, I will say. I mean, it's against real off coverage, doesn't really make much of a move. Yeah, I mean, there's that little hop step, which I don't mind. There's nothing wrong with this route, of course. You'll see right here as he gets to the defender, that little hop step makes the defender open up this way enough that he can't rotate his hips and close that gap close enough. Good timing on the throw, but not a whole lot to that route, I'll admit. Ooh, there we go. Oh, and he caught it. Okay, this is. I was a little worried after these first plays. I was like, huh, I remember him being better than this. Why'd I start off here? Yeah, this is what we want to see. This release package. I mean, look at how quick his feet are on this release, and then the route too, right? He's going to shed him at the line, get outside, get vertical, and then cut outside and make a ridiculous low catch. Let's watch it in slow-mo so we can see just this, or, yeah, let's watch it in slow-mo first so we can see this burst off the line and footwork. You can see he throws the left foot forward first, but it's not that he drops back this right foot, but a lot of players will drop that back too far, right? A lot of players, when they drop this right foot, is they'll move the left foot right to where the right foot was. They'll move the right foot basically back to where the left foot was, and now they're just essentially changing shape. And what that does is it gives them the ability to go this way, it gives them the ability to hand fight. But because the right foot is back and they haven't gained any momentum, they're not able to push off the right foot and get to the right. He does a really good job stepping forward with his left foot here, but landing in a type of jump stop where his right foot comes down here too, and he can go either way. It gives him a really good two-way go. And because the left foot is making such an exaggerated forward motion, it's looked like he's doing a triangle release to go to the slant. So it's a really good job with deception and burst off of this. This is where the jumping skills, right, that 41-foot vert and 11-foot broad come into play. So see him jump forward, land, and then that really hard burst off the right foot. Look how much separation he gains immediately off of that. Now he's already above him and inside. Now he's playing with this defender. You'll see as soon as the defender opens up his hips, because he just burst off the line and he's threatening downfield, hard right foot. You can see that turf come up. That looks better than it actually is. That actually really slows you down a little bit, but that's okay. Still a solid cut. Again, it's kind of that 1.5-yard turn, and then the hands at the end are brilliant. Low hands. I mean, that is an incredible catch, way outside the frame, down on the toe tips. That is a great play from Noel. Let's get into the intermediate routes now. See those stems a little bit. Bottom of the screen, slot rather. It's against zone, but it's just a good ability to be able to make a 90+ degree cut here. You can see he gets really low into it. He does that same kind of toe drag, which isn't the best. But he does a good job approaching the inside shoulder of this defender, really making it look like he's committing to the slant, right? He really comes kind of this way, and then he's able to put his foot in the ground, takes him 3 steps, but he's able to go 1, 2, 3, and go all the way like this. So it's more than a 90-degree angle. It takes him a little bit to do. And then he does a good job not drifting too far up the field, right? Letting this defender come into play. He really rounds it off well, flattens it out, makes a safe catch. Not a lot after the catch. All right, we see him lined up out wide now against off coverage. You can see the deceleration. Obviously, it looks great because the defender falls, but it's just a really sharp stem on the comeback. Great deceleration. You'll see he extends, right? It's right around here, that around the 34 that he starts sprinting. Right, you can see he just makes that exaggerated step right here. Makes it look like he's opening up his gate. Right there, elongates it, and then it's the really hard stem. Just decelerates and breaks down so well, sends the defender flying. I like the good deception here. He's not tipping the route at all. There's nothing in the arms. Really, really good footwork and athleticism there. We'll skip by this angle. It's not going to show much. All right, we see him in the slot here, bottom of the screen. Doesn't get the target, but it's just a good job understanding his leverage. This is just a seam route, right? It's not necessarily designed to take this angle, but what you can't be selling this immediately because then he can play trail coverage and get you. You got to get him on his back feet, run up right to the toes, get him backpedaling, potentially even open up the hips outside, and then hit him with the right foot. And it's not exaggerated coming across because you don't want whichever one of these guys is dropping, whichever one of these two are dropping into this level, you don't want them to be able to shift over and get it. So you really want to stay on this seam as close to here as possible, but still push him this way first. And you see he does that by taking this route, right? By coming off the ball, going towards him, making it look like, all right, I could do a little curl, I could go out, even do a slot fade. And just that subtle right foot doesn't overcut right. This is where he could drop back and get it. Just right shallow seam. Doesn't get the target, but good understanding of leverage there. And not going to see much there. Except for him being pissed at the end, which I understand. Just a great route, right? Doesn't tip at all that he's going to break this out. He starts with outside leverage, so he's just got to get vertical here. It's just good burst off the line, and then it's the ability to change directions at high speed again, right? Doesn't have to decelerate. He's not taking extra steps. It's just one hard left foot here and a pretty sharp stem. Comes back to the ball, really flattens it out well. Just a perfectly run slot out. You can see the deceleration ability once again here. Paces himself well, right? Sees, all right, I'm not getting the press. That means my goal is to sell him on the go. He's already opening up the hips and sprinting with me. Gets in that blind spot, right, as soon as he does, and he just breaks down way faster than the defender can. Hard stem, and you see he gets 5 yards of separation there. He runs a really nice comeback. I think this is super important to his game to look at some of these outside routes because it gives me hope that he can stay on the field in two wide receiver sets, like a guy like Josh Downs has been able to do. Although they don't play a lot of that. This is just a bench press, right? We get to see some of that in action on the field here. And I think he can use his physicality more. Get the hell off me. Right? He's not going to be like an ARSB type slot guy, but I do think he has the ability to use that physicality more, especially at the intermediate level. So let's get to some of his deep routes because this is really where I'm impressed with his game. He's got a little Zay Flowers, a little, I mentioned McLaurin, I mentioned Josh Downs, to his ability to attack deep from the slot, use that speed. Also from outside, the ability to just explode off the line with the quick releases that we've seen, and then the ball skills to match. You can see the late separation here. He continues to separate throughout. I want to first focus on the release because he does get pressed at the line here. Good opportunity to see that. He starts off with inside leverage and he's running kind of a similar play we saw a little while ago at the goal line where he's just trying to hit this seam, go through the middle of the field. This time it's a straight triangle release just to assure that he gets inside. Throws the hard right foot, establishes the arm contact early. And it's not really a great one. He's not getting a ton of separation. This DB knows he has help over the top, but really it's just this separating speed, right? Going outside, DB starts opening up. He's got his hand on his back to maintain that contact. However, it's this cut. You can see the defensive back then is completely left behind. Right around here, when Noel goes like this, it's the ability to change speeds, to change direction at the high speed. Defensive back. There, now the separation is created. Not a good ball track by the safety, but good job just keeping that separation, and then solid late hands makes the kind of baskety catch. Once again, outside against press coverage, just does a great job breaking it. We don't get to see the end of the route, but you can see how early he wins it. on the line as the X. It's just a good jump stop, right? He actually, the defender, does a decent job kind of letting Noel come to him. But now Noel is going to establish that arm contact immediately. He says, I'm going to dictate this. It's almost in a blocking stance. Look how powerful he is off of this right foot. You can see fully bent off this right foot. Swipes down. And now the defender is in trail. Gets outside. Unfortunately, target doesn't come. Just a really nice release and ability to get deep from an outside position. Same route as we saw 2 plays ago. No safety over the top this time. This time it's against off coverage, right? So it's a little different. Previously it's against press. So your job is to immediately win inside, then come outside to force him to follow you and trail outside, and then you cut quicker than him. And that he has to take a kind of rounded route, so you go like that, and he's going like that, and that extra little rounded gets you inside and deep. It's a little different here because he's facing the off, right? You got to get him and get on his toes, wait until he opens up his hips, starts backpedaling, and that's when you come across to get that separation rather than him trailing you. Gets good speed. He's running completely straight right now, and then he's going to angle slightly out, right? Because 2 right now is like, all right, I got you. I got 4 yards of separation still. If you cut inside, I'm ready to go. There's nothing Noel could do at this point. But once he starts faking out a little bit, you can see his hips the defender's hips went from here facing this way where Noel's going to here facing this way, right? Just that little bit of indecision by the defender with the hard right foot, and then it's just the acceleration. Solid catch while getting hit. Throws a little bit behind him. He's able to slow down, good ball tracking, catch it over his shoulder, and absorb the hit while holding on. I really like how he caught this ball. You see, he slows down. If you overrun this and you end up catching it up here on the shoulder, that's how you drop it, especially when a defender comes in and hits you. He slows down enough that there's still a gap between him and where the ball is coming down. And what that means is that he can extend his arms and catch it with the arms extended. And then his body is still in between the defender and the ball, so there's no chance for the defender to get his arm in and swipe it, and it's a much more stable position. Lets it come to him. Gets a little motion help here. Hits him on the out and up. Just a more good show of his agility and change of direction. I actually don't love the deception here. He really never sells the out. He doesn't change his pace enough going from this motion, right? You want to then hard stem to really sell it. Doesn't do a great job of that, but the acceleration is good enough. He still gets through. Would have been wide open on that out and up. Whoo! Oh, baby. I mean, this footwork. What are you going to do with this? Just so quick. He's trying to get from the slot right down the middle, of course, but he's got to basically avoid 2 guys while doing it. Right, approaches this defender head on, okay? This is obviously a zone here, but this defender is going to try to give him a little chuck. You'll see that Noel is kind of looping inside just a little bit here, right? Trying to sell this. Hard right foot. All right, now I'm outside. Gonna get vertical above this defender. If you're this safety, you're like, all right, he just threw this hard left foot. He's getting outside. All right, first of all, the safety's saying, all right, maybe I pass him off here, or he's gonna try to hit me deep over here. So the safety takes those few steps here, opens up. All right, I'm ready to run with you if you go this way. Noel's going to, at top speed, just bend this run. Nope, I'm going that way now. Defender has to completely flip his hips. Not going to catch Noel like that. Good throw. Easy touchdown. Awesome route. Just the ability to keep up that high speed with the great footwork, never losing the balance. Confident on the catch. Let's just watch it one more time at full speed. Bang and bend and burst. Ooh, good stuff here. Nice physicality. You can see the press release again is really good. So it's not a full-on press, right? He doesn't have to go into that early jump stop, but there is going to be contact right here. And he already has outside leverage, which is what you want to sell this out and up. He does a good job of establishing his arm contact right there, right? Defender gets on him, but he's establishing the terms. He can win this bench press. Throws him off. And defender's like, oh shit, I'm doing a great job. Right? He can't get this out. There's no window here. But Noel is like, nah, I'm not actually trying to get this leverage. I'm trying to get vertical leverage. And you can see by the route that he takes with his feet as he's swiping down with his arms. He's not trying to, he's trying to get around this shoulder rather than throw him backwards and get shallow here. And he does that by putting his left arm on his chest. That now gets him in between here. Throws just enough of this out. And then cuts upfield. And the defender has no chance at sticking with him on that cut. Another solid catch. Did that hit him in the face mask? Yeah, I don't know. Makes the catch, though. Impressive if it did. No. Good snag. On the back shoulder, actually. That's a really good catch. And I think a good segue into the next section, which I believe is his ball skills. Yeah, all hands right in front of the face on the back shoulder. Good job. Hey, I got the transition correct. All right, we've already seen some good ball skills, especially going down the field. We saw that absurd catch on that slot out earlier where he caught it like low and away from the body on his toes. Let's focus in more on this because I really like his hands. I think it's a good separating factor for him as a prospect. Lovely. Slot fade is obviously a route that slot players in college are going to run a lot more than the NFL, but still, this is on the near side, right? You're not getting the benefit of the extended hash. Not much he does to win in the route, really. It's mostly just speed and the defender not being able to keep up. Really slow defender, but it's the late hands and the ability to catch it over the shoulder. You can see he's first making contact with the ball. He's not letting it get all the way over his head down to the chest area and fully catching it in the basket. He's lifting his arms above his head and catching it while the ball is above his head, using the motion of the ball to kind of carry his arms in that circular motion down to his chest. This is how you want to bring in these over the shoulder catches. It shows really good understanding and hand eye coordination. Right, look how high he gets this ball. Right, he's not waiting for it down here. He's trying to catch it up here right as soon as it comes over the shoulder. Great ball track, late hands, gets both feet down. Just a really nice display of ball skills there. In motion right now. Deep crosser. Just another display of his speed as far as the route goes, but this is all about the late hands. Just so comfortable on these plays. I mean, he just snags it. Just sticks to his hands so well. Very accurate throw here. It's why he's successful on these contested catches, even though he's not the biggest guy. Right, extended away from the body. The ball actually gets through his hands a little bit. It looks like he kind of catches the back of the ball. Yeah, okay. Not the best actually then. That's not the best form, right? You don't want to be clapping your hands like this and catching the back of the ball. But it does show the strength of his hands that somehow he's able to hang on to it. Double clutches a little bit and hangs on to it, but this is why you gotta watch multiple angles. So a little bit to work on for him there. I'd rather him come in with the basket with his hands already clamped. This is some of his ability against zone. They didn't play a lot of zone against Iowa State. But I just like how he comes back to the football here. Good concentration through the hand swipe from the defender. Able to make the catch, turn upfield. More good, strong hands. Slow it down for the catch point. Hopefully the camera can get there. Yeah, so you see the defender's arms is just coming in here. Good concentration. I mean, you can see just how really strong the hands is. Sorry, it's tough with the camera work. Right? Really good job. Strong, confident. Doesn't even tuck it until he sees the defender just because it's so secure. More good acceleration here, and now you can see some jump ball skills. He didn't have a lot of jump balls. He didn't have to, honestly, but late acceleration. I mean, this is better than I even thought. He's looking over this shoulder, right? He's looking back over his right shoulder. He's got a flip turn because the ball's going to be out here. He's expecting it inside. It's going to be outside. And he flips. Look at the flip of the hip right there. Turn, jump with the contest. Arms fully extended. We'll see at the other angle will be better. This is an incredible catch. You can see every bit of this 42-inch vert here. Gives him the hang time to adjust, right? He's facing this way, has to completely spin. And look at that grab. Oh, and protects it, lands on his back. That is an incredible play. Same game, beats a guy deep. This time it's underthrown, and he does a great job reaching back to the football and ripping it away from the defender. Right, once again, he kind of has to reach back against the flow. It's not the same, like open up the hips fully and twist and catch it up high, but he does have to flip the hips, catch it with the defender's arms coming right here and just rip it away from him. Just so good at ball tracking, using the body, controlling his body in the air, and contorting himself. This one's just good understanding of his positioning on the sideline, right? Oh, went back a little far. Just good body control, keeping both feet down, getting on his toes too, lifting up the heels just to make sure that he's in bounds. Just a good smart play. So I showed you with Noel's burst, his footwork, his physicality, his deception and lack of tip-offs, that he can run really good routes, but he is inconsistent, particularly with the stems. Doesn't always use his physicality at the stem to create separation, and sometimes will bend his routes a little bit. So let's just look at some of the negatives there, areas for improvement. This is a tough route, right? Because you're running this deep comeback. But on this route, you got to sell that you're running deep over the top. There is no over the top, right? It's the back of the end zone. So once the defender doesn't press him here, right? The defender is pretty comfortable using the back of the end zone as that additional defender. What I don't like about this route is how slowly this decel is. Before we were watching, it was taking really 2 steps for him to decel. Here it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? It's that elongated step right before the turn this long right foot right there, but it just takes him too long to really break down there. In a tough situation, but not the best. Another one where it's a tough situation. I mean, he's obviously not the target. He's lined up way out wide on a quick play where all the action's going to be right in here. But you'd like him to be able to sell the out a little bit more. Because he takes a really exaggerated right foot on that triangle step outside to sell the slant, he's not actually threatening the outside at all. So the defender can just really open up his right foot and let him go this way and just trail coverage on him, right? There's no threat. He needs a little hesitation move here, something to go off his left foot and burst inside. But the way that let me slow it down, the way that he extends out in this triangle with his right foot, there's no way to get burst off. Your left foot is dragging, right? He can see this left foot drag and say, all right, there's no way for his body to go in this shape other than inside. So there's no reason for me to shift myself inside. As soon as he sees this, he can say, all right, I'm going to step my right foot back, open up, still within 5 yards, can get my hands on you, easy cover. Top of the screen now against press. I mean, there's not much for him to do here. Tries the little hesitation, looking for the back shoulder. It's a bad throw, obviously, but not a lot to do there. I'm not going to give him too much blame on that one. This one I will give him blame on. He's got to do a much better job here. You have to get physical with him early in the route. He does get off the press well, using that left arm, but he really doesn't. I would almost let him get a little closer to you so you can really shove him off you, get a little separation. Right. Uses his arm swipe. Good job right here. Gets off him. But now what you got to do, right? He's going to go here, but not bend outside enough, not establish physicality with the defender enough to be able to use his leverage against him and really send him outside before he ends up cutting inside. Instead, what he's going to do is he's just going to kind of go upfield, not bend outside, and then his stem here is really just a little bit inside. It needs to be much sharper to really create the separation, right? The defender can feel him here, right? He can feel that his body is never committed to going outside, right? His body is never bending outside. It's already bending inside, really telling. There's no sharp stem that gets him here. So if you're going to take a more gradual stem to get over the top, which is fine because of this coverage and probably the route, obviously he's looking at this one-on-one the whole time. He was open. You got to be able to establish the physicality better and use the leverage that you created off the release. Can only get one arm up, can't make a tough catch. He gets the 8 of motion here. Uh, actually don't mind this route. We're gonna skip this one. That's actually a decent route, kind of just floated the throw. Go to the next one here. This time he kind of tries to go for that bench press tactic, but really just has no ideas. It's interesting. Right, like, first of all, you're not going to be able to bench someone when your feet are like this, right? We've seen him before where he can dig in his feet and really have this type of leverage going right at him. Like that, you're not going to be able to get him off you. There was never a threat of going down the field, which is the big problem here as well. So the defender's never backing up, right? He starts at the 29, he backs up to what, the 30, 31? There's never really a threat of him beating him downfield. Defender has a better anchor than Noel does. Can easily get his hand in there. This is one where he starts off in a negative leverage situation, right? It's a good time where I want to see how good someone is at gaining leverage. And he knows he has the speed boost on him, right? So once he's able to get inside and get off of the defender's body, he should pretty easily be able to extend on this drag. The issue is you need to be able to slow play this off the line of scrimmage, threaten something outside to get the defender to either back up, open up his hips this way, or try to throw his hands at you where you can swipe down on the hands and get off him quickly. Instead, he really tips from the beginning that his intention is going to be to come inside here. Right? It's just not a hard enough fake outside. It's not really a hesitation. No patience with it. And then as soon as watch him tuck in his shoulder, right there. As soon as he tucks in his arm like that, it's like, all right, your whole body is going this way. And you just tucked in your arm with that to avoid the press. I know you're going to be coming across this way. I can just get my hand on your shoulder, slow you down a little bit. He tries to fight upfield a little bit to establish his physicality, but he's really already lost the route. It's taking too long. Gets a little bit, but not really with the ref. And it's just not a good enough job on the release creating the leverage. This isn't a sharp route stem. This is a bad yak play, but it's a good example of one. He really is bad on after the catch. I don't know why. He has all the physical tools. He just really almost never makes someone miss. Doesn't break a lot of tackles. It truly is confusing. Like you gotta do better than just a little hop here and run right into him. Throw a hard right foot and get upfield. Last thing I want to touch on here is the consistency with his hands. We saw that high drop rate early in his career that was fixed to an extent, but there are just a few concentration drops, a few form drops as well. Overall, I like his ball skills, particularly the ball tracking and body control, but the hands themselves have a little bit of inconsistency, as you can see here. Not going to spend too much time on these because I don't think drops translate that much, and I still think hands are an overall strength of his. On this one, I don't know if he's looking to run after the catch. You can see him out here on the right. Balls just kind of gets up on him. He tries to tuck a little bit too soon, might hit himself in the face mask. I think he's just already turning his head and looking upfield is the real culprit here. Yeah, he's already looking upfield. Got to secure it first. Better transition from catch to run. It's not an easy catch by any means. We don't need to watch this whole run back. Not an easy catch coming back to the football, but one for especially a slot receiver. You really expect them to be able to make kind of a coincidence or unfortunate luck that it turns into an interception, of course, but it should be a reception at a minimum and not a, incompletion. Slow it down. I mean, it's a really tough catch. You can see he uses his hands and almost propels it up into the air. But it's one you want to see him make against the grain here. It is a tough one. Right? Has to be fully extended. You can't see it, but it's right behind that guy's helmet, or in front of that guy's helmet. Is what it is. Not a huge deal, ultimately. Let's run through that. Okay. That cut off good. All right, you see him up here at the top. Another play that you just want to see a slot guy make. It gets on him really quickly on this little angle route. But it's right on the money, and that's just about hand strength, right? Gets on him fast, but it's a pretty accurate throw. Right in front of him where you'd expect. And again, the problem is that his arms are just a little late. I don't know why, right? You got to expect that it's coming. You got to have your hands ready. But his arms are a little late, so he's clapping on the ball on the sides of it rather than having his hands already together behind the ball and giving it a target to really just land in. So he claps a little late and slips right through the hands. So some stuff to work on. I don't think Noel is a perfect prospect. I think that his analytics are bad, but his film is overall quite good, and it makes him a very interesting player in the second round, probably late second round of both the NFL draft and your fantasy drafts. Thanks for watching.